Hi, John Blanchard for Muster America. I'm joined once again, Eric Baylor.
Always a pleasure to be here, John.
We've got some very interesting things today at the U.S. Department of Labor. Heather Higgins and Patrick Winfrey from the Chicago office. Heather, regional administrator, and Pat Winfrey, I think is the state director for the VETS program.
Right, exactly.
So we'll go ahead and take a look at the interview with them. A little bit of conversation we're going to have about the stand down, and then, of course, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs cutting back and cutting not only programs in the VA hospitals, but we're going to talk a little bit about the actual downsizing of some of the facilities.
Getting rid of some of their property, which they need badly. And I know I'd like to just turn the show a little bit to something different. I know you don't like to toot your own horn, so I'm going to toot your horn for you. Last week, John was at the McHenry County Economic Development Corporation's annual dinner, and he was named the Business Champion Special Recognition for the year. And I know you don't like that, but you were up against some heavy hitters. You were up against Syntegra, Sage Products, Sherman Mechanical, American Community Bank, and Black Diamond. So I think we should all give him a big round of applause for that.
Oh, well, thank you. The McHenry County Economic Development Corporation is very significant in McHenry County, not just for gathering the information for any kind of grants for transportation. I think we've had quite a bit of federal money come, not enough, certainly not enough. But the McHenry County Economic Development Corporation, along with representatives like Mike Tryon, Senator Pam Altoff, Jack Franks, Representative Franks, Manzullo, Congressman Manzullo, all together with the McHenry County Board of Commissioners, the superintendents, and a lot of the business in McHenry County, be it financial, mechanical, industrial, manufacturing, or health services. McHenry County Economic Development Corporation has pulled every piece of their resources together to make McHenry County a better place to live and to work.
I know from watching some of the interviews that happened there at the dinner, and a lot of the representatives specifically mentioned a lot of the transportation woes in the county. In particular, they blame that for the Motorola downfall there in Harvard, because it just wasn't enough infrastructure to get people in, and that many people in and out of Harvard.
Well, I think there were other factors that had Motorola pull out of Harvard. I think it was probably premature for them to have moved in here, not necessarily because of McHenry County infrastructure or anything derogatory with Harvard. I think more of a problem was they're playing catch-up in the industry. It's a beautiful facility. There's a lot of things that can happen with that Motorola facility out there. But the entire McHenry County doesn't live and die on one company.
Right.
You can't. Many, many years ago, the McHenry County Board and all the people that make up the McHenry County government certainly think far enough ahead to prevent that. Like in Cook County, I think we'll hear about this later in an interview, but like in Cook County, the year is about to start a few months ago, and they've got no money. There isn't the planning ahead like we do out here in McHenry County. Now, obviously, we don't have the populace of Cook County or Chicago, but McHenry County has always done a very good job of planning ahead in the trends that are affecting business and livelihood in McHenry County.
Coming from an engineering construction background, I know for a fact that planning is a very, very, very important part of any community. Making sure your roads are in place, making sure all your utilities are in place. Can you handle, a big influx of people? All those things fall into play.
Well, the transportation in McHenry County, the infrastructure, you mentioned that specifically about Motorola and Harvard. There's some major state roads going through there. 14, 173, and I think 23, right through that intersection. That's only 8 miles from 43, Interstate 43. I think it's 12 or 16 miles from 90, straight west through Marengo. So, west through Rockford. But Uh, the transportation problem I think that we've got in McHenry County is the condition of the state highways.
Yes.
Uh, State Highway 31.
Very, very bad shape.
My goodness, but it's throughout the state. And the townships, their roads seem to be fine, most of them that I've traveled on. I think the amount of traffic that we have, certainly a public transportation system would help that. Oh wait, McHenry County taxes are going to CTA. Public transportation would certainly help. The pace is here, but that would certainly help having a stronger RTA and pace presence. The problem I think that McHenry County has, and if anybody looks at the interview from the MC-EDC dinner, that many of the people spoke about, is the reliable, dependable, skilled labor.
Yes, yes, I saw that part.
They don't need necessarily the managers, they don't need the chiefs. We need some Indians that are willing to work. MCC, McHenry County Community College, has put together like a boot camp type program to get people prepared to go into manufacturing or industry, teaching them some basic things to get going. But we are as well, and the U.S. Department of Labor is going to be very key with that. The Homeless Veteran Reintegration Program and the VETS program, working with the DVOPs and the levers. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at our interviews with Heather Higgins and Patrick Winfrey, the U.S. Department of Labor. I'm joined by Heather Higgins, the Regional Administrator for the U.S. Department of Labor, and Pat Winfrey, the Illinois Director for the U.S. Department of Labor. One of the things the U.S. Department of Labor does with veterans is some of the programs that they have through the Illinois Department of Employment Security and other states. But we're going to find out more about specific programs that they do. Heather, I had a phone call with a friend of mine in Austin, Texas, and he said, if the U.S. Department of Labor is coming in to visit with you, it's definitely got to be a bad thing. I said, oh, no, no, no. They have a lot of really good programs for veterans. Can you tell us about them?
Sure, absolutely, John. A lot of the programs that we administer through the Department of Labor's Veterans Employment and Training Service are grant programs to help veterans find employment. The biggest program that we have, we fund state employees in every state that are there to specifically help veterans find employment. They're the Disabled Veterans Outreach Program Specialists and the local veterans employment representatives, and they're located at the Career One stops. To talk specifically about the DVOP and LVR here in the state of Illinois, I'll turn it over to Patrick.
Thank you, Heather. As Heather mentioned, the LVR and DVOP programs, those are acronyms that we in the federal government use. That's the local veterans employment representatives and the disabled veteran outreach specialists. And those are non-competitive grants that are given to state workforce agencies. In Illinois, the Illinois Department of Employment Security is that grantee. On board, we have about 70 LVRs and DVOPs that are dedicated to serve veterans and veterans only. And one of those you're quite familiar with, John, that works with you on stand downs in this area here. And their job is basically to work with those veterans, especially those veterans that have barriers to employment or disabilities, those that may not make it unless they had